Hello everyone, so this is the report of Group 1 in Global Tourism, Geography and Culture. So our report is all about the basic concepts of tourism in France.
Hello everyone, so for today I'm going to show you the physical or geographical features of France. So France is the second largest country in Europe with a land area of 551,500 square kilometers. And it is located on the European continent's mainland. It has four natural borders, which is the Atlantic Ocean, the English Channel, and the North Sea, and also the Mediterranean Sea. It shares borders with several other countries, which is a feature of human geography. France has 375 meters above sea level and its average elevation. Mount Blanc at 4,807 meters above sea level is the highest point in the country. The total area of France is 674,843 kilometers squared, includes the whole French Republic's territory and also including all foreign departments and territories, with the exception of the disputed French territory of Terre Adélie in Antarctica. Terrain or other knowledge of geographic area of France is mostly flat plains or gentle rolling hills in north and west. The lowest point, which is the Rhone River with delta 2 meters, and the highest point, which is the Mount Blanc, 4,808 meters. The arable land, which has 33.46%, permanent crops 2.03%, and the others are 64.51%. Irrigated land, which has 26,700 kilometers squared way back in 2003, and the total renewable water resources of France is 189 kilometers cube, which is also in the way back 2003. The natural resources of France is coal, iron ore, bauxite, zinc, uranium, antimony, arsenic, potash, feldspar, fluorspar, gypsum, timber, fish, and etc. There are 5 mountain ranges in France: the Alps, the Pyrenees, the Massif Central, the Jura, and the Vosges. So this is the Alps mountain. It is on the border on Italy, Mount Blanc in the Alps, in the highest mountain in Europe. And this is the Pyrenees. It is on the border with Spain with several summits above 10,000 feet. The Massif Central, it is a spectacular chain of extinct volcanoes in the very center of the country. And this is the Jura. It is along the Swiss border. Lastly, the Vosges mountain is not far from German border.
So here is the physical map of the rivers of France. It is composed of Seine, Loire, Rhône, Garonne, and Rhine River. So next is the cultural features of France. French culture, customs, and traditions. France doesn't just have a culture. The word culture actually comes from France. Culture derives from the same French term, which in turn derives from the Latin colere, meaning to tend to the earth and grow, cultivation, and nurture. Christina de Rossi, an anthropologist at Barnet and Southgate College in London. Cultural variety in France. French culture was historically shaped by Celtic, Roman, and Germanic cultures. As these influences evolved, France became a patchwork of local communities and customs. So French is the official language and the first language of 88% of the population according to the BBC. Catholicism is the predominant religion of France. In a survey by the French Institute of Public Opinion, 64% of the population, about 41.6 million people, identify themselves as Roman Catholic. The other religions in France include Islam, Buddhism, and Judaism. From 23 to 28% of people in France do not subscribe to a religion, according to the CIA. So next is values. The French take immense great pride in their nation and government are typically offended by any negative comments about their country. Visitors, particularly Americans, often interpret their attitude toward foreigners as rude. In addition to the traditional marriage, French couples also have the choice of getting a pacte civil de solidarité, civil union. Couples in civil unions could legally separate, adopt, and be entitled to child custody and support. Next is clothing. Many French people dress in sophisticated, professional, and fashionable style, but it is not overly fussy. Typical outfits include nice dresses, suits, long coats, scarves, and berets. French art and media. Art is everywhere in France, particularly in Paris and other major cities, and Gothic, Romanesque, Rococo, and Neoclassic influences can be seen in many churches and other public buildings. Les Miserables is a French historical novel by Victor Hugo, considered as one of the greatest novels of the 19th century. Next is French cuisine. Meals in France are meant to be enjoyed. Food is made with great care and mealtimes are a prime time for socializing. While French cooking is recognized around the world, there are many varieties in cooking styles, ingredients, and dishes from region to region. Traditional French cuisine is characterized by its cheese, wines, breads, and sauces. French traditions and tips for traveling. Greetings. Kissing on the left cheek and then the right cheek is a common greeting for informal woman to man, or man to woman interactions. Handshakes are common greeting for man to man interactions or formal settings. When getting someone's attention, start by saying bonjour madame or bonjour monsieur. In public behavior, patrons bag their own food at grocery stores. If you speak English, ask someone if they speak English before speaking to them in English. It is polite to be formal and reserved, particularly with strangers or acquaintances. Quiet tones are expected in public. Dressing down it is not common in France.
Good day, ma'am. Good day, classmates. So before we discuss about the cultural features of France, let us know first what is cultural feature. So, cultural feature is a man-made feature which includes artifacts, symbols, and practices, art and architecture, language, color and dress, and social etiquette and traditions. So these are the cultural features of France. The first one is the French Revolution, also called as Revolution of 1789. The French Revolution is an uprising in France against the monarchy from 1789 to 1799, which resulted in the establishment of France as a republic. A period in France of radical social and political upheaval which saw the country change from a monarchy to a democratic republic from 1789 to 1999. The second is the second one is the post-impressionist in the south of France. While impressionism emerged in Paris province was the creative melting pot between the last quarter of the 19th century and the first of the 20th. Claude Monet and Jean Renoir, two leading lights, were entranced by the seductive landscape and intoxicating southern light. In their footsteps came French and foreign post-impressionists, from Vincent van Gogh and Paul Gauguin to Paul Cézanne, the greatest of them all. The wave of avant-garde artists continued from Picasso and Branc in their Cubist incarnations to Chagall, Matisse, and Dufy. Van Gogh and Gauguin are associated with Arist, Cézanne with Aix, while Signac and Matisse are linked to Saint Tropez and Nice. The Nabis were post-impressionists who styled themselves as followers of Gauguin. Bonnard, the painter of sensations, lived in a hillside villa above Cannes, Le Fauve, founded by Henri Matisse in 1905, were dubbed wild beasts from their fondness for lurid colors. The third one is the French wine trail. A wine trail is a route selected for tourists that takes you to deep into the heart of wine growing regions, naturally with the aim of introducing you to the local wines, the wine growers and the vineyards, but also the local cuisine, the cultural heritage, and the other regional tourist attractions. The growth in wine tourism, both in France and beyond, has led to the creation of the concept of the wine trail, both for the benefit of local tourist organizations with the aim of raising the profile of a wine growing region, and simply to create a tourist trail that a guide can recommend. A visit to a vineyard remains a unique experience that allows to combine discovery of new wines with the exploration of a region. So these are some wine trails that you may visit or perhaps revisit. The Alsace Wine Trail, the Burgundy Wine Trail, the the Born the Bordeaux Wine Trail, the Provencal Wine Trail. The fourth one is the Fête de la Musique or Music Festival. Even modest-sized towns, meanwhile, pride themselves on laying on grander celebrations and cultural events, often featuring visiting international artists, while some concerts shows require a ticket. There is often plenty of atmosphere to enjoy in the streets and squares for free. The French music scene is diverse, ranging from rock, acoustic music, and Breton folk through world music to jazz and techno. The best occasion to discover all the different genres of music being performed in France, including classical music, is the National Music Festival, the Fête de la Musique, held every year on June 21. Inaugurated in 1982, this has become a hugely popular event with free concerts by professionals and amateurs in streets and squares all over France all night long. So the fifth one is the pétanque. Derived from ancient bowls and the Joe Provencal pétanque acquired its pets and pieds meaning fit together, as there is no run-up and players throw the ball from within a small circle. In 1910, the use of steel rather than nailed wooden balls became established in the 1920s. One of the game's pleasures is that anyone can have a go, but tactics, throwing skills, and mastering exactly the right expressions of doubt, confidence, amusement, and disbeliefs can take years of practice. Any patch of vaguely flat land appears ample excuse for men. It is still a largely male pastime to get together for a game. So the sixth one is the Chateau Country. The Chateau of the Loire Valley number of over 300, ranging from practical fortified castles from the 10th century to splendid residences built half a millennium later, when the French kings began constructing their huge chateau in the Loire Valley. The nobility drawn to the seat of power followed suit, attracting the finest architects and landscape designers. The chateau and their surrounding gardens are the cultural monuments which embody the ideals of the Renaissance and Enlightenment. Many of the chateaux were built on hilltops, such as the Chateau d'Ambas Roads, while the only built in the riverbed in the Chateau de Monceau. Many had exquisite churches on the grounds within the chateau. So the last one is the Parisian watering holes. So, numerous bars and brasser- brasseries, brasseries around town stay open until 1 or 2 a.m. Earthy young hipsters flock to the canals, St. Martin, St. Denis, while St. Germain has a more classic cocktail scene. Good rock venues include the Trianon and the La Cigale in Pigalle, while live music and clubbing thrives at Batufar as well as in other boats club floating venues on the scene, free for the noise restrictions of many districts. One of the Paris' most surprising night spot is also on the river showcase hidden inside the Pont Alexandre III bridge. So that is the cultural features of France. Thank you for watching.
And now we're going to tackle the social features of France. First, let us define the terms. What is social? Social is described as social organisms, including humans, live collectively in interacting populations. This interaction is considered social whether they are aware of it or not, and whether the exchange is voluntary or involuntary. Social features include profiles, security, networking features, search, help or support, and social class. There are three social classifications of France. The first states comprise the clergy. Clergy is the religious leaders whose job is serving the needs of the religion and its members. Members are the priests, ministers, rabbis, and etc., traditionally divided into higher and lower clergy. In 1789, it's numbered around 130,000 or about 0.5% of the population. The second state was the French nobility, which were privileged minorities or royalties other than the monarch himself, who stood outside of the system of states. It is traditionally divided into nobility of the sword and nobility of the robe, the magisterial class that administered royal justice and civil government. The second state constituted approximately 1.5% of France's population. The third state was the largest but had few rights at all. The third state comprised all of those who were not members of the above and can be divided into two groups, urban and rural, together making up 98% of France's population. The urban included the bourgeoisie and wage laborers, and also the rural includes the peasants. The French states of the realm system was based on massive social injustices that were one of the key factors leading up to the French Revolution.
Next is the major tourism destination and travel patterns in France. First on the list is the Eiffel Tower. It is a wrought iron lattice tower in the Champ de Mars in Paris, France. It is named after the engineer Gustave Eiffel, whose company designed and built the tower. Next is the Louvre, or the Louvre Museum. It's the world's largest second art museum on a historic monument in Paris, France, and is the best known for being the home of the Mona Lisa, a central landmark of the city. It is located on the right bank of the Seine in the city's first arrondissement. So the third spot is the Cathedral Notre Dame de Paris, referred to simply as Notre Dame, is a medieval Catholic cathedral on the Ile de la Cité in the 4th arrondissement of Paris. The cathedral was consecrated to the Virgin Mary and is considered to be one of the finest examples of French Gothic architecture. Fourth on the list is the Palace of Versailles, former French royal residence and a center of government, now a national landmark. It is located in the city of Versailles, Yvelines Department, Ile-de-France region, northern France, 10 miles west-southwest of Paris. At the center of the French court, Versailles was one of the grandest theaters of European absolutism. So fifth is the Sacré-Cœur, the Basilica of the Sacred Heart of Paris, commonly known as Sacré-Cœur Basilica. is a Roman Catholic church and minor basilica in Paris, France, dedicated to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Sacré-Cœur Basilica is located at the summit of the Butte Montmartre, the highest point in the city. It is a popular landmark and the second most visited monument in Paris. Sacré-Cœur Basilica has maintained a perpetual adoration of the Holy Eucharist since 1885. The basilica was designed by Paul Abadie. Construction began in 1875 and was completed in 1914. The basilica was consecrated after the end of World War I in 1919. Next is the Luxembourg Garden. It is located in the 6th arrondissement of Paris, France. It was created beginning in the 1612 by Marie de Medici, the widow of King Henry IV. For a new residence, she constructed the Luxembourg Palace. The 7th spot is Saint Chapelle. It's a royal chapel in the Gothic style within the medieval Palais de la Cité, the residence of the kings of France until the 14th century on the Île de la Cité in the River Seine in Paris, France. Construction began sometime after 1238 and the chapel was consecrated on 26 April 1248. So next is Punduga. Is an ancient Roman aqueduct bridge built in the 1st century AD to carry water over 50 km to the Roman colony of Nemausus. It crosses the river Gardon near the town of Vers-Ponduga in southern France. The Verdun Gorge is a river canyon in southeastern France, carved by the Verdun River. It has white water rapids and cliffs. Paths include the Blanc Martyr Trail ending at the point Sublime Lookout. It is especially famous for its turquoise color, and it does not disappoint. The bright blue hue comes from glacial minerals and is so striking in person. It's best seen from the lookout and on the water. And lastly, Pont Alexandre III is a take art bridge designed in Paris. It connects the Champs-Élysées quarter with those of the Invalides and Eiffel Tower. The bridge is widely regarded as the most ornate, extravagant bridge in the city. It has been classified as a French monument historique since 1975. So, how did it shape the tourism development as a country? Tourism is very important in the economy of France. Employing about 1.8 million people, mass tourism is evident in France with 90 million tourists expected to visit France in the year 2018, making it one of the most visited countries in Europe. In 2016, tourism contributed 200 billion euro to GDP. France began to experience mass tourism in the 1960s. Package holiday to France became popular around this time with cheaper flights and paid holidays from work becoming more common. France offers a variety of national attractions for tourists including scenic coastlines, mountains such as Alps and the Pyrenees, and some of the most beautiful rivers in Europe such as Seine and the Loire. France also has a unique climate which attracts a wide range of tourists. The public and the private sector in France also invested in the development of marines and coastal areas, further enhancing the attractiveness of this area for tourists. The public and the private sectors in France also invested in the development of marinas in coastal areas, further enhancing the attractiveness of these areas for tourists. The success of tourism in France can be attributed to the great diversity of tourism and major development initiatives taken by the French government to promote this sector of economy.